I am Mickey Ibarra, founder and chairman of the Latino Leaders Network, host of today's luncheon. We gather today here in Minneapolis to honor two extraordinary leaders of our community, both from San Antonio, Texas. And of course, I speak of Henry Bonilla, member of Congress from 1993 to 2007. Henry, thank you for being here with us. And also, Lionel Sosa, artist, author, ad man extraordinaire. To start our program, we have asked Pastor Juan Ramos of the Love International Outreach Fellowship to bless our food and to offer a prayer for the victims of Hurricane Gustav. Pastor Juan Ramos.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, as we come before you this very moment and we invoke your name, we sense the reassurance that your presence gives us. And Father, as we come together as leaders in different areas, I ask that you will bless the work of every person that is here in this room today. And at the same time, Lord, we ask you for those that had to sustain somewhat of the force of Gustav. And Father, that your grace and your mercy will help them in this difficult situation. And I thank you, Lord, for showing mercy to the Gulf area. Father, we ask that as we go on with this event, that it will be an enjoyable moment, that as we partake of the food, that we ask that you will bless at this very moment, that as we make new friends, that this will be a time to remember. This we pray in Jesus' name, and we all say, amen. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We have asked Mayor Mary Hammond Rowland, the mayor of Apple Valley, Minnesota, very close to Minneapolis, and also president of the Minnesota League of Cities, to offer welcoming remarks. Mayor, would you please come forward? Thank you.
Well, it's wonderful to be here today, and when I'm around Mickey Ibarra, so many wonderful things happen for me. He is someone who has truly connected our cities. That intergovernmental relationship that we have has been a really wonderful one for quite some time now. I think it's quite remarkable that we are at the mouth of the Mississippi, and the storm that has raged in the Gulf has brought us even closer. The Mississippi River is a very important symbol for us, and it is something that connects all of our lives. And I say all of our lives because I believe that the Latino community has been a very important part in a Minnesota community, and that's in Apple Valley. I very much appreciate the hard work and the kind of community spirit and the wonderful opportunities for us to be able to relate with one another. And the Latino community has brought us even closer together. So as the river has connected us, so have you, the people. And I truly appreciate being able to say, welcome. Come take part of all that there is that Minneapolis and the St. Paul area has to offer. And thank you so much for coming here and spending time with us in our home. Welcome.
I tell you, I learned a number of things at the White House for 4 years, and one thing I learned for sure, wherever you go, always invite a mayor to be in charge. Because I'll tell you what, the mayors of our country, wonderful people, terrific leaders, in the end, they're the ones who make the big difference in communities all across our country. And Mayor, thank you so much for joining us today. Four years ago, the Latino Leaders Luncheon series was launched to honor and provide a platform for outstanding leaders to share their personal stories of obstacles overcome to achieve success. Now, 32 events later, the Latino Leaders Network has involved over 5,000 guests to bring our leaders together. I would like to direct your attention now to our large screens for a very short overview of the Latino Leaders Network produced by Three Roads Communications. Thank you.
Leadership, that indescribable but recognizable combination of vision, charisma, and courage. Now, there's a forum that honors leaders of the fastest growing segment of the American population, the Latino Leaders Network. Founded by Mickey Ibarra in 2004, the Latino Leaders Network recognizes Latino achievement in the fields of public service, media and entertainment, sports, and more, with 3 signature events: the Latino Leaders Luncheon Series, the Latino Mayors Tribute, and the Latino Issue Hour.
The Latino Leaders Luncheon Series really is intended to provide a platform for our leaders to share their personal story of obstacles overcome to achieve success, as a great reminder to all of our leadership community of their responsibility to be helpful to each other so we all can succeed.
But the Latino Leaders Network does more than recognize achievement. Through these regularly scheduled events, it also provides bipartisan networking opportunities for Latinos to forge new relationships, to listen to each other, and to address issues that are important to the Latino community.
So that when it comes to education, to building economies, to ensuring that people have adequate housing, to delivery of health care, to our position relative to other countries around the world, to national security, to the environment, we're all burdened with providing the leadership in the public conversation, in the public square, about the direction of the American Republic. It's very exciting.
The Latino Leaders Network provides a respected forum to share ideas, inspiration, and solutions. And Latinos on the Hill is the first ever congressional directory highlighting Latinos serving members of Congress and the American people. As the Latino population continues to expand in the United States, the Latino Leaders Network will serve as a catalyst for leaders of the future.
If there's one thing that I would like for Latino youth to take away from the Latino Leaders Network, it would be to persevere, never give up, and always keep your community first. And that's one of the things that I think is important about the Latino Leaders Network, to show who our leaders are, so that we can in turn inspire our Latino youth and our community.
Leadership. It's vitally important to keep America strong, secure, and growing. Leadership. It's recognizable when you see it. Leadership. It's alive, well, and growing with the Latino Leaders Network.
But as leaders, we need to make a commitment to each other. We need to be better to each other. Others may try to tear us down. We need to build each other up. That's what the Latino Leaders Network is all about.
And all of this wouldn't be possible without the terrific support of corporate partners, sponsors that have really stepped forward to embrace our community and to help us succeed. We want to thank our special partner today, the Hispanic Leadership Fund, and its Executive Director, Mario Lopez. Mario and HLF leaders, where are you at, Mario? You're sitting here somewhere. There we go. Provided us a whole lot of support to make today's event successful. The Hispanic Leadership Fund is a nonpartisan advocacy organization dedicated to promoting common sense public policy solutions rooted in free enterprise, limited government, and individual freedom. They also would like to thank Natalie Reyes of the Azteca America Foundation for their support also. So please thank the Hispanic Leadership Fund and Azteca. Thank you. Second, we also want to thank Miller Coors and Joe Avila. Where's Joe at? He's here. We talked earlier. Joe, there, thank you, for sponsoring the pre-luncheon reception. This is the first Miller Coors sponsorship of a Latino Leaders Network event. And Joe, we're very grateful for your help. Thank you. And now our founding sponsors. 4 years ago, the Latino Leaders Network began. And it began because of two corporations, two corporate sponsors who recognized the value of bringing our leadership community together. We owe a huge thanks to Verizon Communications and the Coca-Cola Company, again, the founding sponsors of the Latino Leaders Luncheon series. Please join me in thanking Verizon and the Coca-Cola Company. And now, a word from our sponsors. Rudy Becerra is the Vice President for Latin Affairs at the Coca-Cola Company in Atlanta. And it was Rudy Becerra that I went to first to seek support for establishing the Latino Leaders Network. Rudy was there from day one. He remains with us today. And we're very, very grateful to Rudy Becerra and the Coca-Cola Company. Rudy?
Muchísimas gracias. On behalf of our CEO, Muhtar Kent, and all our associates worldwide, I'd like to welcome you to today's luncheon. I'd also like to recognize a few of my Coca-Cola executives and associates that are here today. John Rosales. John, thank you for being here. Jorge Peralta. Thank you, Jorge. And the 1-2 punch, the 1-2 combination of Corporate Latin Affairs, Vice President Frank Ross. Thank you, Frank, for being here. And I also want to recognize Janelle Botch. Thank you, Janelle. I just met her. She's another one of my associates. I'd also like to thank our co-sponsor, Verizon. Mickey's right. 4 years ago was Mickey's vision. And Mickey has this incredible knack of bringing people together. And this is what it's all about. And Mickey, thank you, and to your great staff for outdoing yourself again. This is an incredible event. Mickey's vision was to bring all of us together to talk about what we're doing, not only in business and entertainment and community, but to recognize lo mejor de nuestro. And he manages to do that for every event. And I just want to compliment and congratulate Mickey Ibarra for another great event. Thank you, Mickey. For over 122 years, part of the thread that makes up the fabric of our business has been giving back to communities we serve. Contributing to the creation of sustainable communities is part of our business platform. From being significant employers around the world to being responsible stewards of environmental resources through our aggressive water conservation initiatives, which we are diligently working, and check this out, we are diligently working towards one day returning 100% of the water used in our beverages and production back to Mother Nature. Our communities, thank you. We also have another goal to one day, again, recycle more plastic than we consume with our new world largest bottle-to-bottle recycling plant in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which will produce approximately 100 million pounds of food-grade recycled plastic, the equivalent of 2 billion 20-ounce bottles for reuse each year. And this is really something that really makes me feel proud. We are the official recycling provider for the 2008 Republican National Convention. We are making, we're making a positive environmental difference this week by providing products that are 100% recyclable. These products are being delivered by Coca-Cola, North America's biggest heavy-duty hybrid delivery fleet in the country. Additionally, Coca-Cola provide bins and infrastructure to recover 100% of the materials used at all the venues this week. We are committed to being the world's leader in providing billions of moments of refreshment every day by offering a diverse portfolio of beverages for all lifestyles and occasions. But we are ever mindful of our corporate responsibility. That's why we strive to be part of the solution in creating sustainable communities and bettering our world one community at a time. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you for being at this luncheon. Y disfruta este almuerzo. Gracias.
And our second founding sponsor of the Latino Leaders Luncheon Series, Verizon Communications. And today representing Verizon, we're very pleased to be joined by Peter Davidson, who is the Senior Vice President for Federal Government Relations at Verizon. Peter?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Peter Davidson with Verizon Communications, and welcome to my hometown, Minneapolis. This is where I was born. And I'm so proud to have everybody here enjoying the great environment that I grew up in. Isn't it a great town? It's going to stop raining, I promise, and then it's going to be 75 degrees and sunny for the rest of the convention. Yeah, right. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. We at Verizon have a real commitment to our communities as well. I was just struck at the number of people that Mickey pulls together for these events, and the leaders that come out for these are just fantastic. So I know I was sitting with Congressman Bonilla over here, and Coca-Cola graciously had a little bottle of Coke on everyone's table there, and Henry said to me, he said, Peter, why don't you put a little cell phone on everybody's plate? So I'll appeal, yeah, maybe next time we'll do that, get a little budget increase. But anyway, great. Well, thanks so much for being here. We are honored today to pay tribute to Lionel Sosa and Congressman Henry Bonilla, two great public servants, and I'm proud to be here in paying some respects to them. In particular, I worked in the U.S. House of Representatives for many years with Henry Bonilla, and I know there's going to be a lot of tributes and accolades going on later on. But I have to say that Henry is one of the most devoted and committed public servants that I'd ever seen. His personal story and what he was able to achieve in Congress and is yet to achieve as a representative of Texas, his district, and of the country is truly admirable. And I'm just proud to be sitting at the same table and paying some tribute to Henry. So Henry, thank you so much for being here with us today, too. I'd like to introduce some of my colleagues at Verizon as well. We have a big delegation here at the convention. Emilio Gonzalez is head of our strategic alliances at Verizon. Joanna McIntosh works with me in federal government relations. Paul Nash is with Verizon Wireless. And our senior vice president for federal government relations with Verizon Wireless, Howard Woolley. And we also have Verizon's general counsel, former Attorney General Bill Barr, is here with us today as well. So Bill, thank you so much for coming to join us. So Verizon's commitment to our communities comes both in terms of providing the telecommunications services we do, whether it be wireless, wireline services. Broadband in particular is a focus of Verizon, and we've been spending a lot of time and a lot of effort in our communities to make sure everyone is hooked up to a broadband connection. Broadband, particularly for our kids, whether it be education, healthcare, is critical for their ability to compete in the 21st century economy. So whether you're dealing with Verizon wireless products, which is a nationwide footprint, hopefully many of you are familiar with, hopefully are using right now. I see some people texting in the back of the room. Thank you. Please tell your children to play lots of video games on their phones, and we like the full texting services. Thank you very much. Not to call you out, I'm sorry about that. But also in our landline communications, our FiOS networks. Hopefully some of you have had an opportunity to try our FiOS broadband, which is a spectacular new product in all kinds of applications, whether it be in healthcare, education, the environment, or just telecommunications. So we're very excited to be bringing those to you as well. Our Verizon Foundation is one of the largest foundations in the country. Our Thinkfinity program in particular is an online database for teachers of over 3,500 lesson plans that are available online, interactive. And we're having another event on Wednesday, and we invite you all to come out to the Minnesota History Museum, where we're going to be featuring the Thinkfinity program out there just before the convention on Wednesday afternoon. So our commitment to our community is strong, and we're very happy to be here. Mickey, again, thank you so much for pulling us all together here once again for Lionel Sosa and Henry Bonilla. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I was going to do this later, but it seems like it ought to be done right now. Thinking about broadband. This is the first luncheon that we have now been able to offer. Wherever broadband is available, the Latino Leaders Network Luncheon is available today. We are broadcasting a live stream at nextgenweb.org so that, in fact, we can expand the reach of the Latino Leaders Network literally around the world. So we thank NextGen Web for this service. I'd like to recognize several guests. Remember, the mission of the Latino Leaders Network is bringing leaders together. All of you in this room, by definition, are leaders, and we're very proud to have you with us. And we also want to recognize several special guests. We have Her Excellency, the Ambassador Carolina Barco of Colombia with us. Ambassador, would you please stand and be recognized? And again, some of our national leaders are here as well. We'll hear from Janet Murguia in a bit, but I also wanted to recognize Janet Murguia, the President and Chief Executive Officer of the National Council of La Raza. Janet. And also we have John Tresvina, who is the President and General Counsel of the Mexican-American Legal Defense and Education Fund. John, you're here in the room. Please, maybe he snuck out of the room. He was here earlier at the reception. I also saw Al Zapanta, who, of course, is the president of the U.S.-Mexico Chamber of Commerce. Have we got Al still here with us? And, of course, we're also very pleased to be joined by also by the head of the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Augie Martinez. Augie? And also another important organization is with us today, the Latino Coalition. We have Alan Gutierrez. Alan, are you here with us? As well as the chair of the board of directors of the Latino Coalition, Hector Barreto, and of course the former administrator of the SBA. Yeah. We may have some other special guests, and we'll come back to that in a moment. We reserve 3 minutes for each of our luncheons to hear from an organization that is doing good work in our community. And today I'm so pleased that we have been joined by Rosario Dawson actress, award-winning actress, and co-founder of Voto Latino. We're so proud to have you with us, Rosario, and we'd invite you to share with us the good work of Voto Latino at this time. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I think actually I had the pleasure of meeting some of you at Mickey Ibarra's house, who did a really wonderful luncheon for us and fundraiser. He surprised me with a stack of Capital File magazines that I had to sign for everyone, which was fantastic. So if anyone wants to throw a fundraiser for Voto Latino, I am here and available. Please to make an appointment. I'd like to just talk about, this is my first convention. I was just at the DNC and now we're here. It's really wonderful to be representing Voto Latino that is now 4 years old, that has been dedicated to enfranchising Latino youth. We had in this last primary season, 52% of the vote that came in from Latinos were under the age of 29. So we have that, combined with the fact that we have 50,000 Latinos turning 18 every month, 85% of which are eligible to vote, we have a lot of work ahead of us. And that's going to mean dedication throughout every single month, every single year. So I'm really grateful to be able to be here to represent Voto Latino here at these conventions, but also I'm really pleased to be here to make your acquaintance and get to know each other because we have a lot of work ahead of us. To do some of that work, I'd just like to recognize Maria Teresa Peterson, who's our executive director, who's also here. And our staff members, Steve Alfaro and Josh Norick, Nunca. And we just got in. We're going to be here for the next few days, just again, just educating ourselves as citizens and participating as strongly as possible and getting ideas as much as possible for the next couple of weeks because we have crunch time ahead of us. It's going to be very, very important to get as many people registered and a part of this conversation as possible. It's a huge, huge election in front of us, and I'm happy to be here to learn as much as possible on how to help. Thank you, Latino Leaders Network. Thank you, Mickey Ibarra. And again, we really seriously are here for any fundraisers you want to do. Thank you.
A couple other folks that I'd like to recognize. We're really pleased to be joined today also by the first Latina state senator from Minnesota. This is Senator Patricia Torres Rey. Please. And also from the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, Danny Vargas. Danny? Again, our purpose is bringing leaders together. And we are here today to honor two outstanding leaders of our community, both Henry Bonilla and Lionel Sosa of San Antonio. On your program, you'll see that it was our intention to have Senator Kay Bailey Hutchinson of Texas with us today to deliver a tribute of Henry Bonilla. Unfortunately, Hurricane Gustav got in our way, and the senator is exactly where she needs to be in Texas, tending to the damage and concerns of victims there. But she has sent a letter that I'm going to take the time to read to you at her request. Dear friends, please know how much I wish I could be in Minneapolis today. And Lionel, to be with Lionel to help honor Henry Bonilla at the Latino Leaders Network Luncheon. Hurricane Gustav has delayed my arrival at the RNC convention, but I look forward to visiting with you tomorrow and addressing the convention in support of our next president and vice president. For many years, I've enjoyed the benefit of Henry's friendship. Henry was the first Republican Hispanic ever elected to Congress from Texas. He gave a voice to many disadvantaged communities that were not always well represented in Washington. I have great affection and admiration for Henry, and we need more Hispanic leaders like him in the United States Congress. Our party should be the home of the Hispanic community, and we must do more to attract Latino leaders who share our conservative values and Republican vision. I thank you for your efforts to promote our party's ideals within your communities. Together we will deliver a victory for all the people of America. Signed, Kay Bailey Hutchinson, United States Senator. Congressman Luis Fortuño of Puerto Rico will deliver our first tribute, our tribute to his former colleague in the United States Congress, the House of Representatives, Henry Bonilla. It's important to understand that Congressman Fortuño, a leading champion of the Puerto Rico Democracy Act, candidate for governor of Puerto Rico, and chairman of the Congressional Hispanic Conference. Congressman, please.
Buenas tardes. Our prayers are with our friends in the Gulf Coast. Certainly, I'm very sorry that Senator Kay Bailey Hutchinson couldn't make it. However, that has allowed me to be here to pay tribute to a great patriot and a great American and a Hispanic role model for everyone in this country. Before 1992, when he was elected to Congress, Henry Bonilla was already well known because he, after graduating from the University of Texas in Austin of journalism, he became well known in San Antonio, then in New York City and in Philadelphia in the news media. Then in 1992, he decided to run for Congress, and he went to the 23rd District against an incumbent. And in that year, the greatest upset in the country, anywhere in the country against an incumbent member of Congress, was delivered by Henry Bonilla in his first election. Not only was he the first Hispanic Republican to get elected from Texas, but ever since then, he became a strong voice for all of us from all walks of life, whether you were Cuban, Colombian, Puerto Rican, Mexican American, or what have you. Henry Bonilla served in different committees, but I still remember when I entered Congress and had the honor of serving with him, when I needed some help on agricultural issues for Puerto Rico. It was Congressman Henry Bonilla who lent me a hand and helped me making sure that the American citizens from Puerto Rico get their fair share in this agricultural program that we were discussing at the time. Henry Bonilla went into uncharted waters, and actually today is seen by all of us as a role model to follow. I was honored to serve with him, and I always will cherish his friendship. I join you all, including Mickey Ibarra, in paying tribute to the great American patriot, Congressman Henry Bonilla.
Henry, Congressman, on behalf of the Latino Leaders Network, I am proud to present the Nambe Eagle Leadership Award to Henry Bonilla for his outstanding leadership and contribution to our community. Henry, thank you. Let's stand right here. And now we'll hear a few remarks from the Honorable Henry Bonilla.
Thank you, Mickey. Mickey, thank you for your leadership, the vision that you had when you established the Latino Leaders Network. What a benefit it is, especially to the young people in this country, Hispanics all over America, who can look at what you're doing and be inspired to accomplish themselves long term. Congratulations to your success thus far, and we look forward to many years ahead in working together. Thank you also for acknowledging Mario Lopez and the Hispanic Leadership Fund and the good work that you all have done together for this luncheon, and the goals very similar that are overlapping, and I appreciate you going over that earlier. There is more information on the Hispanic Leadership Fund as you exit today outside if you'd like more information. It really is, I'm just overwhelmed by the honor bestowed upon me today. I am someone who was born in a housing project in a Spanish-speaking neighborhood in San Antonio, on the west side of San Antonio. And for those young people who are connected to the Latino Leaders Network, I hope they could look at not just my example, but of those of others who you have honored in the past and will honor in the future, and many of you who are here today that are tributes to the opportunities that are out there for young Hispanics in this country, and perhaps they can learn from us. You know, not only did I grow up in an area as I described. Later on in life, the family struggled. My grandmother on my mother's side often had to work as a maid at the downtown Baptist Memorial Hospital in San Antonio, taking the bus to work every day for 30 years to set an example of hard work and doing for yourself and trying to pull yourself up from your bootstraps. My father was a great example of hard work. My mother, who was the only one in the family who had a high school degree, did understand that if the kids stayed in school, they had a shot at living the American dream. And I count my blessings every day that I was born. I count my blessings every day that I was so fortunate to be born in this country that allows someone like, with my background, to be successful. Before I spent 15 years in federal politics, I spent 15 years in the television news business as a executive producer and producer of news and public affairs in television markets like San Antonio, Austin, Philadelphia, and at the peak of my career in that line of work, I was responsible for the 11 o'clock news on WABC in New York that averaged each night between 2 and 12 million viewers. So, and back then I would pinch myself some nights in my New York City apartment talking to my mother, and back then it cost a lot of money to call long distance back to San Antonio because I missed tortillas and chorizo and all of the dishes that she made from back home. And I had to learn as I was hanging on the phone with her how to roll tortillas and to make them, and they didn't come out perfectly round, but at least I had them to have a taste of the culture that I grew up in. And being part of the Hispanic community, it is something that you always want to hold on to the wonderful aspects of the culture, regardless of which Hispanic community you come from. But then first and foremost, waking up every day being proud to be an American and what this country has to offer. And as I moved on years later to run for Congress, a lot of people said, hey, you know, you can't run for congressional office. This was in 1992. You've never even run for student council before. How can you run in an area that is 70% minority, that has an incumbent congressman who's been in office for 8 years and in politics for going on 25 years. You can't possibly win. All I ever had to do is have somebody tell me I couldn't do it, and then I would not be denied. So I would tell my story as one of the greatest fulfilling moments I would have when I was in office is speaking to high school students and college students and giving them examples of my life and how they might relate to it so that they can be successful as well and be perhaps part of the Latino Leaders Network someday. And I always walked away thinking that if I just reached one student on any given afternoon or any given night, telling them my story of struggle and fortunately of success, that they might say, you know, man, if that guy can do it, coming from his background, maybe I have a shot too. And always explaining to people, we owe it to young people, those of us who have been successful, to let them know the story of struggle and success and meeting failures, getting up again, getting knocked down, and keep continuing to move forward. We owe it to them to provide that opportunity for them as well to be successful. The other day, and sometimes, you know, you never know when it's going to come back to you. I'd be in a crowd later on, and a young college student would tap me on the shoulder and say, Mr. Bonilla, I remember what you told me a couple of years ago, and now I'm attending MIT. I never thought I had a chance to do that, or I'm attending a local college. I never thought I really was college material. And you walk away thinking, wow, you know, you made a difference. And that's what the Latino Leaders Network is all about, making a difference to leave that kind of inspiration behind for young people. As I moved on in Congress, it was again, just some days I can't believe I'm getting to do what I do. I co-chaired the last two conventions. I got to be a chairman on the Appropriations Committee that decided funding for the entire federal government. For my entire 14 years in office, I got to serve on that committee, and then got to be a chairman within that committee as well. And then I think back to those days where on some occasion we had to live in a little metal mobile home in my grandmother's backyard for a while just because we didn't have a place to live in between homes growing up on the south side of San Antonio, and how far I had come. So I, for one, want to leave the legacy of opportunity for my children and their grandchildren in the future. I don't want them to wake up someday and say, what happened to my country? How has it become so different than what my dad grew up in that gave him that opportunity? So every day while I was in office, and I continue to do it as well today, I work for those principles and will continue until the day I die to work to preserve the environment that this country has provided for many of you and myself to prosper and to grow if you're willing to work hard, stay out of trouble, continue working, and apply yourself. And that is what I'm committed to doing until my last day on this earth. And again, I just appreciate the time that you all are spending with us here today. And Mickey, thank you again for your great leadership.
Henry Bonilla. What a great man and what a great guy, Henry Bonilla. And Henry, for one, I'm so grateful that you're going to continue to live in our nation's capital, continue to do good work for the clients that you represent for a lot of good causes. For our second tribute, Janet Murguia, the former Deputy Assistant to the President for Legislative Affairs at the White House, and now a key leader in the Latino community as President and Chief Executive Officer of the National Council of La Raza, will deliver a tribute to our honoree, Lionel Sosa. Janet?
Buenas tardes todos. Good afternoon, everyone. What a terrific luncheon, and what a privilege and an honor to be here for this special tribute. It's such a wonderful occasion. Let me just add, before I get into the tribute, to the chorus of acclamations for the wonderful leadership of my former colleague in the White House, someone who's done a great work on behalf of our community by putting the Latino Leaders Network together. It's been a real privilege for me to see the different series and the different speakers and to understand how they have grown in their personal stories. And so, Mickey, thanks for bringing us all together here. You did it in Denver. He did it here in Minneapolis. Thanks for your leadership. It's wonderful. We've got terrific leaders, and I know Mickey acknowledged a few. Let me acknowledge a couple of others that have been particularly close to NCLR. Our former board chair, Rita DiMartino. What a wonderful leader for our community. Thank you, Rita, for your service to NCLR and our community. And a recent board member who just stepped down, someone who's been dedicated to our community and has served with women legislators across the country, Robin Reed. Thank you, Robin, for being here. One of our terrific community-based organizations, one of our affiliates doing great work here, it's called Clues. Their executive director is here today, Jessie Beth Gomez. Jessie, thanks for your leadership. Great work in healthcare here in Minnesota. Let me just say, it is such an honor and privilege to be here to give tribute to this wonderful Renaissance man. The first thing you need to know about Lionel Sosa is that he is really good at what he does. As the founder of the largest Hispanic advertising agency in the United States, he is a legend in the field of advertising and marketing to Hispanics. He is also a legend in presidential politics for the work he has done on behalf of candidates such as Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush. His beautiful, positive, and memorable ads for these candidates resonated so well with Latino voters that it helped them garner the highest percentage of the Latino vote for any Republican presidential candidate. He has done a terrific job in presenting our values through these candidates. And I'm sure the candidates themselves contributed to that, but we credit Lionel Sosa. What Lionel did with his ads was simple, and those of you who are in marketing and advertising understand that simplicity is what you want to attain. He reminded simply that Latinos and all other Americans that Latino and American values are the same. Family, faith, hard work, love of country, and a profound belief in the power of the American dream. That is Lionel's trademark. It is a message that Lionel has taken to his party as one of the original Big Tent Republicans. Lionel has been a tireless voice within his party for increasing outreach to Hispanic voters and strengthening ties between the party and the Latino community. He knows that the future of the Republican Party depends on it. And he hasn't just done that in the party. Lionel has earned enormous respect with the Latino community for his commitment to community, to other Latino organizations, and to open dialogue. We saw that in his work most recently in heading up MAT.org, Mexican Americans Thinking Together. It was a wonderful initiative and continues to be one with his imprimatur on it of bringing communities and voices together to build consensus. He has hosted and participated in countless forums and conferences with members of other parties and with people whose viewpoints differ markedly from his own, because he believes that this dialogue is not just important, it's essential if we're going to move forward together. He has strong beliefs and is a forceful advocate for his party, but he always listens, speaks, and debates with the level of respect and civility that should be the standard for every political figure in this country. On a personal note, I want to express my gratitude for the support and commitment Lionel has given to the National Council of La Raza. He has always had an open door to NCLR, and we have sought his advice and counsel many times over the years. And I'm grateful, especially because I know that he was great personal friends with my predecessor, Raul Izaguirre, someone who led this organization for 30 years. And yet, when I asked him to come on the board, he did not hesitate to come and said to me, Janet, as a Latina, it's important for me to support you and to make sure that you are successful. So this is a Renaissance man who understands that while you can see still some of the good old boy network in some of our circles. He understands the importance of empowering everyone, especially Latinas. Let's give him a hand for that. I appreciate that very much. But this truly is a Renaissance man. In addition to being a very successful businessman, he is a best-selling author and an acclaimed artist. And if you haven't seen any of the museum projects that he's done in San Antonio, in particular, the series on vaqueros, you must do so. Because in it, he reveals his love for our community in so many different ways and in the faces of those who do that very essential work that really transcended and opened the frontiers for our community into this country. So he has painted a portrait himself, and his wonderful partner and wife, Kathy. They have been terrific together as they've made incredible contributions to our community. You know, I'm surprised. This is one of the first days, for the first times in the whole time I've known Lionel, where he's not wearing his signature bow tie. Because I think it often reminds me that I think of him as the ultimate caballero. You know, he has been someone who has really been someone we can admire and respect for his wonderful talent, his success, and his intellect. But we love Lionel because of his heart and the fact that he carries our community in his heart wherever he goes. And the fact that he's never forgotten his roots in San Antonio, Texas, and the fact that he has used those values, that filter of our culture, to guide him throughout this incredible success. And he has done so much and is so well regarded and so well respected in his field, but he always has time for people in his community. We are so fortunate to have him as a leader in our country today. We're privileged at NCLR to have him on our board. Please join me in thanking this wonderful man for his great contributions. Lionel, it's an honor to pay tribute to you today. Muchísimas gracias.
Lionel, on behalf of the Latino Leaders Network, we are proud to present you with the Nambe Eagle Leadership Award for your outstanding contribution to our community. Thank you, brother. Set that right here. And of course, now we'll invite Lionel to share some of his thoughts with us today.
Thank you, Mickey. Thank you so much. You know, I'm an advertising guy. Ad men don't get honored, you know. We're the guys that just make the ads, but I really, truly appreciate this. Janet, you are absolutely the best, you know. When Raúl Izaguirre stepped down after 30-some-odd years of leading the National Council of La Raza, who could there possibly be out there that could fill those shoes? But Raúl and everybody that made the decision knew that it was Janet who could do it. And if you've seen her take on people like Lou Dobbs and the way that she does it, man, I'm telling you, we are proud of her because she doesn't let him get in his words the way that he wants. It's his podium, but she doesn't let him have it, and she is just amazing, and only you can do that. Janet, thank you so much for being so generous in that introduction. And of course, I want to thank Mickey, who is this amazing, energetic man that can put together people from both sides of the aisle and put them together in a way that they work for each other and that always, always make a better world for our community. You're unique. I'm so glad that Raúl Izaguirre introduced me to you way back then in those Encuentro meetings, Mickey, because we became friends. And although we work on different sides of the parties, it doesn't make any difference. And it doesn't make any difference because it's really everything that we do together is for the good of our community. I do get a lot of credit, undeserved, a lot of it because I've worked in 7 presidential elections now. This is my 7th. I never thought I'd be this old. In 1980 and 84 with Ronald Reagan, 88 and 92 with Papa Bush, and then 2000 and 2004 with George W. Bush, and now with John McCain. And in every single one of those races, my talented and wonderful creative wife has been there, and she's the one that really has the great ideas, and she's the one that please stand up, Kathy. I think she is one of the most amazing. You know, at that table too is the people that really do so much of the great work, and I want to recognize Mr. Cesar Martinez, who is the man that puts together. Stand up, Cesar, if you would. He's been behind the scenes a lot, but now he's in front of the scene, really making things happen in the advertising. Beth Sturgeon, a wonderful, wonderful friend. Leonard Rodriguez, Enoe Garcia. And this is the team that really does the work and the great work, I think, for our nation's leaders. And talking about our nation's leaders, you know, great Senator John McCain is running for president right now, and we were doing a video for him that's going to be playing at the Republican convention today. And in that video, he says, "I learned as much about conservative values from my Latino roommate at the Naval Academy than I did from my parents." And he talks about Latino conservative values in that video. And just a few minutes ago, that man that was his college roommate at the Naval Academy walked in with his wife. His name is Frank Gamboa, and he is with us today. Wow, applause well deserved, Frank. Thank you so much for being here. And his beautiful wife, Linda, thank you for joining us today. You really make this whole gathering so special. And people ask me, Lionel, why did you become a Republican? You know, I mean, you're a Mexican. You're supposed to be a Democrat. Well, I'm 69 years old, and the first time we got our television set, there were only 3 networks at the time, ABC, CBS, and NBC, and there wasn't much programming then. The only thing that all 3 networks were playing were the national conventions. And I heard Dwight Eisenhower make his speech, and he talked about honor, courage, faith, and duty. Honor, courage, faith, and duty. He talked about love of country. He talked about personal responsibility and about family. And he talked about opportunity, making one's own opportunity, and having government get out of the way. A couple of weeks later, I then heard Ed Lai Stevenson, his opponent. And Ed Lai Stevenson talked about how much we needed government to help us out because somehow we couldn't do it for ourselves. And of course, there's a lot of things that government must do for people that can't do for themselves. But somehow, Dwight Eisenhower, that old soldier, and his words resonated to me. And I went and proudly told my parents, when I'm going to be able to vote, I'm going to vote Republican. And they said, Dios mío, Lionel, how can you possibly do that? Te vas a ir al infierno. You're going to go to hell. Why? Because you can't be a Republican. You must be a Democrat. Why? Because we're Mexican. We have to be Democrats because we're Mexican? Yes. Any other reasons? Yes, because we're poor. Okay, so we need to be Democrats because we're Mexicans and because we're poor. Does that mean that the Republicans are the rich guys? Yes. Well, they said yes, and I said, yeah, I want to be rich. That's where I want to be. And then, out of the blue, back in 1978, we got a telephone call from John Tower in his office. And they said, we're looking for an advertising agency, and we think you would be just right. Now, we'd never done political advertising, and we'd never done anything on the Hispanic side, and we asked why. Well, because we like your ads, but we've never done it before. That's okay. We think you can do it. Well, we made a presentation. We won the business, and he had a big Latino effort back then in 1978. It was a long, long time ago. Alma remembers. And it was a campaign that spent $500,000 in Hispanic media, which was a lot of money back at the time, $500,000. Nobody had done that, not any Democrat and much less a Republican at that time. But John Tower knew that he needed to get the Latino vote. At that time, Latinos voted only about 8% for Republicans. So we did the campaign. He got 37% of the Latino vote, and he won by 0.5% of the entire vote. That means that the Latino got him reelected as U.S. Senator. And after that happened, he calls me to his office. He says, Lionel, I need to talk to you. Wow, I wonder what he wants. You know, did I did something wrong? Did I overbill him? And he said, you know, you were instrumental in helping me get elected, and I want to know, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? I said, I don't know, Senator. I mean, you've just given me the opportunity to work with you, and that's a great honor in itself. He says, no, I want to do something else. I want to do something for you. So he picks up the phone, and he calls his contact at the Wall Street Journal. He says, I want you to know the man that helped get me elected and was probably more responsible than anybody else, and I want you to do a story about him. The Wall Street Journal did a story, and I had my little drawing in the Wall Street Journal there. Big, half-page story. My world changed at that time. Within 3 months, Coca-Cola, before Mr. Becerra was there, and Bacardi rum, and Coors beer. Coca-Cola, Bacardi rum, and Coors beer became my clients because they saw that article. All of a sudden, I went from being a teeny-weeny little nobody agency to being a nationally recognized advertising agency. My accounts, nobody was spending more than $50,000 a year at that time, but Coors came in with a $3 million account, Coca-Cola with a $2 million account, and Bacardi rum with a $1 million account. All of a sudden, we were big, and we were able to do the work that got us on the map. Why? Because one man opened the door of opportunity. He didn't say, you need government to help you. He says, all I'm going to do is open the door. I'm going to make a call. And when he did that, I thought, well, what more favors could this man possibly do for me? That he's changed my life. But then he calls again. Lionel, I need to talk to you. Come on over and talk. Whoa, what? He says, I need to introduce you to Ronald Reagan. He's going to be the next president of the United States. And he took me over and introduced me to Ronald Reagan. He says, this is the man that needs to do your Hispanic outreach. And Ronald Reagan told me, well, that's going to be easy, Lionel. I said, well, I hope that it is, but tell me why you think it's going to be easy. And he said, because, look, what did your daddy teach you? And then it came back to me, those words that Eisenhower, family, hard work, personal responsibility, patriotism, love of country, honor, duty. That's what he taught you. That's what we're all about. All you have to do is communicate that, and as long as you do that, you're going to be just fine. And in 30 seconds, he gave me that whole entire strategy that we've been using ever since. And we don't change it all too much because it really resonates not only with candidates, but also with the Latino community. And, you know, this year, though, it's going to be very different because although Gore didn't spend hardly any money courting the Latino vote in 2000, and Kerry didn't spend any money courting the Latino vote in 2004, Barack Obama is a lot smarter. He's a lot smarter. And I would not be surprised if the spending on his part to court the Latino vote will go over $30 million. I will not be one bit surprised. He's already committed $20 million for Latino voter outreach, and another 10 to another $20 million in the media is going to be very easy for him. So we've gone now from having absolutely no competition in the media to having the best competition ever. And Barack Obama is hiring the best people that he can, wonderful people. And you know what? That's okay. Because for the very first time, both parties are aggressively wanting our vote. Democrats are no longer standing by and saying, we don't have to do anything, we've got them in our hip pocket. And Republicans, as Republicans, we're going to have to step up, and we're going to do better than we've ever done before. We have to, or we're not going to gain any advantage at all. In fact, we really hope that we were able to match what George W. Bush did in an environment that's going to be very, very different. So I just have to say that I'm so honored to be in this same place with you, and so honored to have a seat here or share the stage with my good friend Henry Bonilla, whom I admire so much, and I devoted several pages in my first book about his story because it is so inspirational. And I thank all of you for being here today. And Mickey, muchísimas gracias por todo lo que haces.